Speaker, royalty and compensation. Our first shot on our right was fired 3 years ago when we sought to increase the petroleum royalty from 5% to 30%. I must admit that we have not succeeded in getting the 30% per se. The crash in the oil prices has created problems for government revenue, as well as the viability of oil companies. Many oil companies has closed shop. At a time like this, trying to change the business model now is very sensitive matter. But this does not mean that we are not pursuing our interest in petroleum. An increase in the petroleum royalty is an easy way to raise cash for Sarawak, since that we have learned that there are more ways than one. To skin a cat. There are more ways than one to skin a cat. We have learned to be a bit more sophisticated in our approach to raising our stake in our petroleum resources and making it work for us. Petroleum Sarawak Berhad. In addition to that, we are now building our own oil and gas industry in Sarawak. This is the purpose for setting up Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros. We want more Sarawakians to be involved in the petroleum business in Sarawak. This will increase the income of Sarawakians who work in the petroleum industry. I think the skill that we build here will be invaluable to Sarawak. We want to use our own gas to power the development of other industries in Sarawak as well. Oil and gas are depleting resources, and we have to leverage on them to build other non-oil and gas industries as a means of diversifying our economy. The increase in royalty is also an attempt to raise the revenue of the Sarawak government. This could be done also by the Sarawak government taking a major stake in any of the petroleum operations in Sarawak, including a production sharing contract basis. Of course, in any commercial dealing, the Sarawak government will have to undertake due diligence to ensure that proposals are commercially viable with the help of Petros. Datuk Speaker, now I touch on the role of State Secretary in the civil service. Datuk Speaker, I wish to correct the erroneous impression some honourable members have concerning the conflict of interest in the appointment of the State Secretary as the Director in Petronas and Petros. The State Secretary is appointed to the Board of Petronas for the basic reason of monitoring and protecting the interests of Sarawak in our petroleum resources. We should be glad for Sarawak that the State Secretary is in Petronas because he acts as the official conduit between Petronas and the government. Actually, this is the first time that a Sarawakian is appointed in the Petronas board. Furthermore, there is simply no conflict for the State Secretary because he is not and never been a member of Petros. I am indeed surprised that we have honourable members in this august house who are very capable of dreaming up things for which there is no reality. Check dulu lah. Kalau betul barulah cakap. In this case, there is none. And he is not a member of Petros board. Therefore, no conflict between Petronas and Petros. Datuk Speaker, in this sitting, Some honorable members also raised matters related to the role of the State Secretary and the civil service. There is a further charge that too much powers are concentrated in the State Secretary. We must realize that the State Secretary is not a person, but is an institution and a statutory post provided in the state constitution for which certain specific functions are prescribed, which the person holding that position must perform by himself or by committees of persons or tasks as directed by the cabinet of which he is the secretary. Those powers are not personal powers. The principal job of the State Secretary is to ensure that the civil service implement properly the policies of the government of the day. As you know, I am also making sure that the boards of statutory bodies and GLCs comprise government representatives as well as professionals and experts in their field. As a result, the role of politicians is kept minimal in these statutory bodies and GLC. I wish to emphasize that most of the positions held by the State Secretary are statutorily provided for and therefore are expressly authorized by this legislation. These statutory positions come with the posts, and many of them have also previously been held by his predecessors as part of their duties. Furthermore, I can confirm that none of the positions held by the State Secretary has infringed any state laws, and the person sitting on the board need not necessarily by him, but can be his representative acting on his behalf. I and my cabinet colleagues are very happy and appreciative of the performance and efficiency of the civil service. On the hindsight, sometimes I begin to wonder our friends from opposite bench are running out of issues and ideas to talk in this day one. Just my insight. Dr. Speaker, Development Bank of Sarawak. I'm happy to say that Development Bank of Sarawak was officially launched on the 3rd November earlier this month. The BOS will start operation first thing next year with a paid-up capital of 500 million ringgit. The BOS is set up by the Sarawak government for the specific purpose of funding strategic projects and I go to the bank already. Huh? Wait, I haven't finished again. Baru introduce steady lah. You know, there's a quote by Deng Xiaoping, you know, cool head. Be cool. Deng Xiaoping said, you know, and I follow up Deng Xiaoping, you know. Cool head. But then he said, never be number one, but aim higher. Deng Xiaoping. Mana saya? Sudah hilang sudah. In this way, the BOS plays a leading funding role for Sarawak as it provides direction for the future development of Sarawak and where investors should be focusing their resources in. In other ways, the BOS also plays the role of providing bridging finance, so to speak. The direction of development in Sarawak in the coming years is clear. The digital economy, the oil and gas sector, urban transport system, infrastructure, private healthcare, modern farming, and renewable energy. The BOS is a development financial institution that lends money at competitive interest rate because it has to pay market interest rate for deposit it gets from the Sarawak government and its agencies. Therefore, the BOS will be run on a commercial basis, making all due diligence on the project proposal it receives. The BOS will work with other banks and financial institutions to fund projects together in Sarawak. I would like to express my appreciation to my cabinet colleagues for agreeing that no politicians are appointed in the board, as I expect the bank to be run professionally.